All right, let's dive into something that could totally flip the script on how we think about crypto. Imagine this. What if your digital assets didn't just sit there waiting for a price jump, but actually paid you every single month?
You know the drill with crypto, right? For the longest time, it's been all about buying, holding on for dear life, and just hoping it goes to the moon. But what if it could be more like a great dividend stock or a rental property that puts a steady paycheck in your pocket? Well, that what if isn't a what if anymore. A company called Amplify has just filed for a brand new product that is designed to do exactly that. And they're building it around one of the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world, XRP. Okay, so first up, let's talk about what this really is. A new kind of crypto investment. We've got to look way beyond just the price tag here. So here it is, the XRP Monthly Option Income ETF. Now, forget the long name for a second and focus on that one word, income. That's the part that could be a total game changer. This isn't just about buy and holding. It's a hybrid. You still get exposure to XRP's price, sure, but the fund is also actively working to generate a regular monthly payout for you. It's a shift from just growth to growth plus yield. Now, for our second point, and this is really important, this is not your typical ETF. The secret sauce here is all in how it's built.
You've probably heard about the standard spot ETFs, right? They're super simple, they just buy and hold the actual crypto, so their value is completely tied to its price, and that's it. This new fund, it's a totally different beast. It doesn't even hold XRP directly. It's got a dual mission, track the price, and generate that extra income. The strategy is everything.
And honestly, this is where the design gets really clever. By using instruments that are just linked to XRP instead of the token itself, it neatly sidesteps this huge regulatory headache of directly holding crypto. That one move, that single choice, could give it a much smoother path with regulators, who've been a major roadblock for so many other products.
So the big question, how in the world does this fund actually create that monthly paycheck for investors? Well, it turns out the engine driving this whole thing isn't some newfangled crypto magic. It's a classic strategy borrowed directly from the Wall Street playbook. It's a well-known and actually pretty conservative strategy called a covered call. All it means is the fund sells someone else the option to buy an asset at a higher price in the future. And just for selling that right, the fund gets paid a fee, which is called a premium. That premium, that's the income. Here's a super simple way to think about it. Imagine you own a house and you rent it out. You collect that rent check every single month. Now, your tenant might decide to buy the house from you one day, or they might not. But either way, you keep all the rent you collected along the way. That rent is the income. It works just like that. So you get this constant, beautiful cycle. The fund uses its holdings to sell these call options, it collects the cash premiums from the sales, and then it passes that cash on to investors as monthly income. And here's the kicker. The real beauty of this is that it can generate income even if XRP's price is totally flat, just moving sideways. So what's actually inside this thing? Well, the plan is to keep about 80% of the portfolio directly tied to XRP's price, but the other 20%, that's the boring but super important stuff. Stable assets like US Treasuries and cash. Think of that 20% as the anchor, the ballast that keeps the whole ship steady and provides the cash it needs to run that option strategy smoothly. Which brings us to a really big question. Why this? And maybe more importantly, why now? Because with any new product like this, timing is absolutely everything. So what's going on in the market that makes this the right moment?
Well, it really boils down to proven demand. You see, a similar Bitcoin option income ETF launched not too long ago. The big question was, will anyone actually want this? Well, in its very first year, it pulled in this much in assets, $600 million. That's not just a little bit of interest. That is a massive flashing sign that there's a huge appetite for exactly this kind of product.
And look, this isn't happening in a vacuum. It's like a perfect storm of trends all converging at once. We're seeing big institutions finally getting more confident about crypto. We're seeing Ripple get much clearer legal standing. And we're even seeing huge corporations, like the Japanese gaming giant Gumi, making multi-billion yen investments in XRP. The stage is officially being set. It's a story all the financial observers are seeing across the board. The Wild West days of crypto are starting to fade. The new demand, the big money coming from Wall Street and more conservative investors, is for regulated, safer, and income-producing ways to get into the market. Okay, last section. Let's talk about the road to approval. What's the path forward from here, and what are the hurdles this fund still has to clear?
And this is where that clever structure we talked about could give it a serious edge. Because it's based on derivatives, it basically speaks the same language as the regulators. It fits neatly into the existing financial boxes they already know and are comfortable with. And that could mean a much faster, much smoother path to approval than any spot ETF has ever seen.
If you look at the timeline, you can literally see the story unfolding. Ripple's recent legal progress built the foundation. Today, we have Amplify officially making their move with this filing. And now, the next big date to circle on your calendar is September 2025. That's when the SEC's regulatory process will be under a microscope.
Look, if this thing gets the green light, it wouldn't just be a small win. It would be a massive milestone. It would finally make XRP, we're talking the fourth largest crypto in the world, truly accessible to a whole new class of investors. The ones who prioritize safety, regulation, and of course, a steady stream of income.
And that leaves us with one final, provocative thought. For years, everyone has been talking about building a bridge between traditional finance and the world of crypto. So could a product like this, one that finally speaks Wall Street's language of derivatives and yield, be the thing that actually gets it built?